Let's get those guests out here, guys. First up, he plays Dan Espinoza, Kevin Alejandro. Where are you, Kevin? There he is.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And next, she plays Mazikeen, Lesley-Ann Brandt. Thanks, Lesley. And next, she plays Ella Lopez, Aimee Garcia.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. And last but not least, Father Kinley, Graham McTavish.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. And before we get to all these awesome fan questions that are already pouring in, I just want to see how you guys are doing. There's a lot going on in the world. So how are you?
I'm doing great. Getting ready to, we're all getting ready to start back up on Lucifer season 6, which happens in a couple of weeks, I believe. And just looking forward to that. We've been on a bit of a break, as we all know. So I think we're all just ready to get back to it.
Yeah, we had a little Zoom yesterday for COVID rules, and it was just nice to see everyone's faces and to see how much work from the team goes into getting us back to work. And it's just going to be fun to get back in there, like Kevin said, and play with everyone.
I'm in Prague, so I'm doing a different job. I'm doing a film here, but it's Prague is lovely, very beautiful. If you've never been, I highly recommend it. But I've got a fly in the room. Oh my God! Sorry, I'm just. It's huge. I mean, it's like a small bird. It's. Sorry.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm good. I feel like I'm detoxing from the break, and like I started working out again, preparing my knees for standing for long periods of time and not sitting down the way I'm used to for the last 6 months. But it's I'm excited to get back to work. I've definitely missed the leather pants and those blades.
Yes, I miss leather pants too.
I know you did wear some leather pants.
I did.
Drogon. Is that what's your name? Drogos. Drogon. What was it?
Drogos was my brother. Dromos was me.
Dromos.
Yeah, Drogos was my slightly smaller. He has a full head of hair, but yeah.
That's awesome. And is anyone out in California? I know we heard about the Prague fly and Graham out in Prague, but how are you guys doing if you're in California?
That's why I'm drinking. Just so you know, I'm not drinking at 10 in the morning.
Sure, Graham.
Yeah.
I am. Own it. I'm just kidding.
That's right. I've only just got out of bed.
Yeah. I think all three of us are in California. We're just very smoky outside with all the fires. It's so sad. It feels like this year is so apocalyptic. Oh my gosh.
I know. As I walk around and I see the skies, I feel like I'm walking around in a Roger Deakins film right now.
I know.
I
know.
So much of this year has been like some kind of dystopian film. But the thing with the dystopian film is that you can go and you watch it, and you're watching it for like 2 hours, and these terrible things are happening, and will the hero survive, and will the earth be okay at the end of it? And then you leave, and it's all like, it's great. But when is this one going to end? I mean, when is this film going to, stop?
I know.
When will the credits roll?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I have faith. Well, we will get through this, and it brings out the best and the worst in people, I think, these times. So, you've seen bad behavior, but you've also seen really unconditional acts of love that you're like, okay, there's still hope for us. So I remain optimistic about the human race.
That's such an Ella response. I love that. So if you guys are ready, we can get to these fan questions.
Yes.
So first we have from El Rancho 01. Since these are the last seasons that like you said, Kevin, you guys are just about to get started. What are you going to miss most about your character or your time on the show?
Well, I mean, for me in particular, I'm gonna miss what you said second. I'm gonna miss all my time on the show. We've had each season is different from the next, but the relationships seem to be stronger. We created something from the very beginning, and now to see it come to an end is, like anything comes to an end, just sort of, all the good memories start to rush back as to all the great things we've done together. So it's those memories and those moments that will always resonate within me. And I can only hope that the next journey that I go on specifically will be able to create some fond memories as well, but you just never know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll miss specifically Ella's t-shirts because they're so fun, but I think it's just rare to be on a show that has its own tone. And I finally watched the season last week. I told Kevin, and I was just so proud of everyone.
Everyone brought it, right? Everyone did so great. Sorry.
Yeah, everyone just stepped up, and I think I'm just gonna miss being with people that are all in. Like it's no one phoned it in, no one no one gave less than 100%, and I think that you can't force someone to care about showing up. So I think it's really cool to shoot in LA. That's very rare. Most shows shoot outside of where we all live, so we'll definitely miss that. But yeah, it's just cool to come together and play make-believe and have it resonate internationally, because everyone is like a piece of a great puzzle. So like Kevin said, nothing lasts forever, but I'm writing a lot now. So I'm like, Kevin, I'm going to write something for you. I just got hired by da-da-da. So I'm like, will you come play and stuff? So hopefully, we'll get to work together past this chapter.
I'm definitely going to miss being 10-15 minutes from work. That's for sure. When you're a mother with a family and your house is, here in LA, that is the blessing when you do this job for a living. But more than that, I think I've spoken about this before. Like, I grew up on this show for the most part. Like, I got married in the first season, I got pregnant in the second season, had my baby in the third season, bought a house in the fourth season. So like fifth season, I think it was really, really great for me creatively. And then sixth season is sort of like just that bonus, we get to play and hang out. And obviously the fact that it's being done in a global pandemic when so many of our peers don't have work or aren't, secure financially. Like I always sit in gratitude for that. But I think what I will miss, what Aimee said, is like, it's rare. It's not that it's, I guess like, it's not that it's rare, but like, I do genuinely love that, everyone cares about putting their best foot forward, not just for themselves, but for the show. And because we've been canceled like twice, we know that this is, you just never take this for granted, like I didn't believe we had a season 6 until literally it was not even when it was announced. I'm like, until I start paperwork, until
yesterday when we had a COVID meeting, right?
Exactly. Yeah, because the industry is just so fickle and you get used to it, when you've, been in it for a minute. So that and our crew, I definitely will miss our, this family who some of them turned down jobs to be able to like come back, and they did so during a pandemic. And that really speaks to the kind of set that has been created over the course of these last 5 years going into our 6th. So, I'm very grateful I get to be home working on a show that I love and a character that I love, with people who show up and do their best work.
What about you, Graham? Talk about Father Kinley. What did you like most about that character? Besides the leather pants.
About Father Kinley.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing that I would say that I loved most about him was that he became two people. It's very rare as an actor to be given that opportunity, and I think the only other time I've been given that opportunity is on stage, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, the contrast for me of playing those two versions of me, if that's the right way of putting it. Obviously, I'm hesitant to say that Dromos is a version of me, but somewhere I'm sure he is. It was really great fun. And actually, the thing that I would say about my experience on it was that it reminded me of my experience on Outlander, in that both of these shows are very lucky with Tom and Lauren, and in the case of Outlander with Sam and Kat, that these people are really, really just lovely people. And that informs an entire work experience. And it's reflected in everybody, the people, you know, Kevin and Aimee and Lesley-Ann and everybody that works in that environment makes it a really, really fun thing to do. And I think, and I truly believe it, that that translates onto the screen. And so when you're watching it, whether you're playing, you know, in my case, a villain, obviously I don't think he was a villain. I think he was just right. But when you're playing a villain or whatever you're playing, people can tell that you're enjoying yourself. And I think that makes watching it a more enjoyable experience. So, yeah.
That's great. And then we have another question. I've gotten it a few times actually on Twitter for you guys about the musical aspects of the show. This question is from Kate Patter, and we had a similar question from Jason on Twitter. If your character performed a duet on the show with Lucifer, what song would you want them to sing?
That's a hard question.
Well, my character did, although it was her mother.
But is that the only one that you guys have done, Lesley?
Yeah. I'd been asking. Well, Tom and I hadn't been asking. Tom and I talked about it since literally season 1. And they just couldn't really figure out like how and when. And so it was cool that it wasn't Maze necessarily, that it was her mother. And then that plays into like her being musical with Eve when she sings Wonderwall, etc. But I don't know. I think for Maze, maybe that song would be a little bit more, not as like melodic. I think a little bit more, although Diane, Joni Mitchell, A Case of You. Do you know that? You know that song when she talks? The lyrics are like, she mentions the devil and working behind a bar.
There you go.
or a bar. I'm like, yes, there's space.
That's perfect.
I don't know. Probably something like just silly, and you know, if it was like Ella and Lucifer, probably something pretty peppy, or maybe like big bandy, or something like an old Frank Sinatra, you know, Rat Pack kind of number. I feel like those two characters would probably sing together. But it's funny, I actually don't get to see a lot of what's going on, and I didn't even know that. I watched it and I was like, holy shit. Like, by the way, I haven't even told Lesley-Ann this, but I'm like, she fucking crushed it. Like, it's like, I feel like when you don't have scenes with people, you don't know what the heck's going on. And then you see something and you're like, oh my God. You're like, that bitch totally changed the way she walked and moved and sang and carried herself, and everything was slower and her movements were like underwater. And then Kevin was like, I mean, it was just so cool to see other people's work. When you see it for the first time on screen. So I was very excited. And speaking of music, like, wait until we have another musical episode that I was at Kevin's first rehearsal, and he's unrecognizable between the professional dancers and him. So I feel like even though I'm behind the scenes, I'm very much pleasantly surprised at the team where I'm like, holy shit, they can sing, they can dance. Like, it's just, it's quite a treat that we get to be on the show. That's a procedural show. That's a drama, but everyone gets to break out into song. It's a rare, I think, opportunity for something that's so grounded. And you have like actors like Graham that are like theater trained, and then all of a sudden people are singing. You're like, what's happening here? But maybe that's why people love this show.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about our show one of the things I love about our show is that it does give us that opportunity to just sort of step in. I think a lot of us are come from the theater. So just a little glimpse back into that world that, for me personally, I haven't been able to do in years. So when you get to do something like musicals like that, then it's like, oh yeah, yes, I remember why I love this. So it's cool that Lucifer gives us that opportunity every now and then. I think one of the songs, I don't really know a specific song that Dan would sing with Lucifer, but it'd have to be some sort of big, campy, musical-esque cat and mouse kind of song. Like something to the tune of Master of the House from Les Mis or something, like something like that.
I think I would, you probably don't know this track, but it's by a British singer called Nick Lowe, and it's called The Beast in Me. And it's really about a man singing about really having two personalities. So I would have enjoyed singing that with Tom, but it's not a big song. It's more of a kind of ballad, but I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it does sound like there will be a musical episode.
I think we can tease that Aimee and I get to do some stuff together in that episode. Ella and Maze.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
What kind of stuff, guys? Tell us all. What kind of stuff?
No. My Nest Cam is directly wired to the production manager at Warner Brothers. She's watching.
All I will say is Lesley-Ann dances in the tallest boots and tallest heels you could ever imagine. Hopefully that's not too much of a...
Trying very hard to look sexy. But maybe having a few Velociraptor moments. Those girls that are like click, click, click at the end of the night when the heels are kind of...
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. We didn't have that much, you don't have that much rehearsal time. And yeah. I think it was right before lunch or something. They're like, okay, Lesley-Ann, Aimee, everyone's here to watch, and the lighting is set, and the smoke is perfect, and like, the dancers go on break in 10 minutes, no pressure, but hopefully we can get it on this take. We're like, yeah, okay, no pressure. And I'm not, you guys will just have to see how it pans out, but let's just say,
it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, yeah. So.
Yeah, you guys will get to see the finished product soon, but they have some really great behind-the-scenes videos that they had people take for them. So you can see all the gruel and the grind that happens, before the shiny that you guys will see.
And it sounds like, Kevin, you also have a musical moment.
We all do.
Yeah, we all do. We all got the opportunity to, I think when they had decided, and when Joe and Ildy decided that this is something they wanted to do, everyone got the opportunity to say, what are your strengths? What are your talents? Can you do this? Would you like to do this kind of thing? So, and collectively, we jumped at the bit. We're weird actors, so that's what we do. So yeah, I get the opportunity to do something I haven't done probably since early college. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's pretty okay.
Pretty okay. Glowing review. Pretty okay. I'm sure it's gonna be more than pretty okay. We're really excited to see that. The musical aspect of this show is one of the most surprising things, I think, because you wouldn't at face value look at a procedural devil show and be like, yes, musical episodes, but it works and it's awesome and we can't wait to see it. Super cool. Okay, let's see here. Oh gosh, it's 3 a.m. in Australia. Terry Peters, I hope you go to bed after this, but we'll ask your question. Terry says, I'm still super excited. And if you could choose a superpower, like Lucifer's ability to learn desires or Amenadiel's ability to slow time, what would you choose and why? Can I go? Ending 2020? That's mine.
I would choose the ability to be able to regenerate life in all aspects. So like Earth, human life, just whatever growth. And then do you guys watch Moana? Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes,
of course.
So I'd be like Tefiti, like like just regenerating the planet. Like come on, ozone, let's do this.
I would probably choose to speak every language because I think it'd be really cool to be able to communicate with anyone anywhere in the world, even if it's not verbal, if it's just oral or phonetic. I think it would be very cool to be able to speak everyone's native tongue.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I think the world would be a better place if we could all speak each other's languages. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
I'd be really boring. I'd probably go for flying. Be really boring. I mean, it would just be so tempting, just be able to step outside and then just take off. Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, it probably would get boring after a while because you'd just be able to do it. So it wouldn't be a novelty. Maybe the 10th time you did it, you're just like, yeah, I can fly. I would still love it though. I'm still impressed by flying in an airplane. I'm always excited when I take off in an airplane. But,
you get nervous with turbulence? You're not affected if it's
No, my dad was a pilot. So I kind of grew up in airplanes in one way or another. But no, I've always loved it. I've always loved that moment when, you just leave the earth and you're flying and you're like, wow. And even though I understand it from a physical point of view, I just think it's like magic. And so no, I never get nervous on a plane, although I don't want to speak too soon, you never know. But yeah, I'd love to fly.
That's a good one. I'd love to fly too. But I think if I had, I think if I had the ability to take people's hurt and fear and anger and turn it into something positive and give them a sense of happiness as opposed to letting it change who they are in a negative way, I think I would choose that power of being able to take what it is that's hurting you and pull it away and replace it with something happy. Is that too much?
No, it's so sweet.
Big-hearted.
That's awesome. And before we take another question, we just want to say, Terry, go to bed. It's 3 a.m. Like, we love you. Take care of yourself over there. And I also want to remind fans that you can still purchase any of the exclusive experiences, including one-on-one video chats with these guys, custom recorded messages, and autographs. So head to wizardworldvirtual.com to do that. So if we don't ask your question today, book yourself some time with these awesome people, and you can do that. And that's really exciting. So we're going to get back to the fun because I see we have more questions coming in. This one's from Tara Lynn Molina, and she wants to know, how was working on this show? How has it made you feel in influencing people, and how your characters have grown and the influences on the fans? How has that been for you?
It's been incredible, actually, and I think this is a question that we all do get kind of often, and my answer never changes. It's and I think majority of our cast feels the same way, that without our fans, we don't have anything, and so it's really cool to see the evolution of who our characters become because of their influence. You guys help shape the kind of show that we are because of your voice. We hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud to represent, I say this a lot, just a woman in STEM. I think it's really cool that she's a total dork, and super nerdy and has no sense of personal space and is in her own lane and is kind of just this independent, idealistic love bug who is just a dork. And I love that. I love representing, especially women of color who are educated and academically inclined and inspire, hopefully, other people to join the sciences and stuff. So like Kevin said, we wouldn't be here without the fans, and they literally saved us from cancellation. So it's really nice. I think the show has really strong women and who are smart and capable and physical and strong and vulnerable and good people, and they're very relatable characters. And so I think it's such an honor to play a female character who is all those things and very relatable, because I think it hopefully opens up people's hearts better and makes them feel less alone when they're like, oh my God, I'm like Maze, or I'm like Dan, or I'm like Ella. And it just makes them feel like they're a bigger part of, the human experience.
I think the responsibility that I have with Mazikeen has grown immensely season to season. Obviously, being a character that's part of the LGBTQ plus community, I definitely take that responsibility so seriously and try very much to be a better ally in understanding the issues affecting the community itself. And I think what I love about her is that she just is. There's no big spotlight necessarily shown on her sexuality, but that you just, Lucifer's bi, she's pansexual. We don't make a big meal of it. They just love who they love when they want to, how they want to. And I feel like the world could learn a lot about, these two people just existing comfortably in their skin. And then as a woman, and Maze, I've learned, she teaches me a lot. I have a lot of messages from particularly young girls who are she makes me feel comfortable with, speaking up and standing up and being who I am and finding my voice. And that really does mean a lot to me. And she teaches me that too. I think I take away from this character an ability to having that hard shell and the toughness. It's innately who she is. It's innately who I am naturally, given where I'm from. However, that showing vulnerability and peeling back those layers is okay too. And it's okay to not have everything figured out. It's okay to fall on your face and get back up. It's okay to stand your ground when you need to. And it's okay to also not have a reaction initially to something negatively, to take pause and think about it and think on it. And I think Maze is sort of going through that evolution, and a lot of people have reached out to me in DMs with mail, just going, this year has been such a it's been such a trying time for everyone, but to be able to look at a character and go she's trying. She's just trying to do her best. She's trying to figure out this relationship with her mother. She's trying to figure out how to exist on Earth with a broken heart. She's trying to figure out how to, deepen and strengthen friendships. And she may not always get it right, but she's just trying. She's not giving up. And so that I always consistently think about, because when you start a show, you don't ever think, I never thought that this character would mean as much to some people as she has, or she does, it seems. And so I do feel a big sense of responsibility with that, for sure.
What about you, Graham?
Well, I mean, it's difficult for me because I was in one season, and so it's, I had a really great time doing it. But yeah, I mean, really, I would refer to my previous answer. It's, it was great fun to do, and I enjoyed working with every single one of the people on the show. And but I'm very impressed by the answers that I've heard there.
Same here. And our next question is from Jamie, and he says, can you talk about creating your characters in the film noir episode and how that process what that looked like?
Oh my God, fun.
Mine was
so much fun.
I was intimidated by my character. As I was reading the script, Stompanato would come on or whatever, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's totally going to be me. That's totally going to be me. And then it's like, nope, it's Aimee Garcia. And then the next character comes, oh yeah, I can see it. Oh yeah, that's got to be me. Nope, it's so and so. And then I got to.
Were you trying to play Lilith?
Yep. I was like, I have to rock that. And then I got to that, and I was like, it was the only character that I was scared of, because I was like, I don't know where this person lives in myself, But I'm glad they gave it to me, because it was a challenge that I hadn't had in a while, and I think a testament to what Lesley-Ann was saying earlier about our crew and the people that we work with. I felt, just in the table read alone, looking around and then getting on stage with our crew, they gave me the courage to just be a clown, and sometimes that's not easy to do, especially with people that you love, because you don't want to disappoint, right? So that was a big challenge for me, but I'm glad they gave it to me, and I created something pretty weird that felt somewhat true,
Was there an actor, Kevin, that you kind of had in mind?
There was a little bit of a sort of clownish version of Philip Seymour Hoffman in Talented Mr. Ripley. Actually, I outright just stole his walk for that. So I gained around that sort of arrogant, that world from Philip Seymour Hoffman. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
I loved playing Lilith. Like, it took me back to Spartacus days and working on a period piece where the language and the cadence and the physicality of, a slave versus a Roman person would just be different. So, thank you for saying the kind things you said, Aimee. I did look at how she physically would be different to Maze, given the period, but also the refinement of the character, which I think her mother is a lot more refined, whereas Maze is a bit of a bulldozer, legs spread out, hand on the crotch. Lilith is a little bit more feminine and kind of more feline in her movement. And so I definitely pulled on Eartha Kitt for I Want to Be Evil. I chose, and I really fought for that song, because I think a lot of Eartha was in that character already. And it just changing sort of how she spoke. And I mean, I loved some of the lines. Like, my favorite line was about humanity, actually, in that episode, where at the end of the season, at the end of the episode, she says, it's knowing there's an end. That's what makes it count. That's what makes them brave, even when they don't want to be. And I think that was so poignant and so amazing to remember, as far as just a bigger idea of humanity, there is an end, and what's your journey? How are you going to live this life? And then also there's that very kind of typical 40s, tell Tommy I'm nobody's girl. I love that, because I was like, yes, she was just this sassy, amazing like woman that kind of glided into a room with. After a while, the costumes were amazing, but I couldn't like eat and breathe. So the corsets after, you know. But yeah, no, that was so much fun. And I think everyone did such a great job. I really was proud of our show when I watched that episode.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job, you know. And one thing I will say before I talk about playing a mob boss who's a man with a mustache, leader of the outfit in 1942, is it's funny because each of these actors on the show, and I assume Graham is the same way, is very detail oriented. So like, what nail polish does the character wear? What, you know, especially Lesley-Ann, like what color hair is her hair today? Like, what is her, like even as Maze, I was like very, very detail oriented. And Kevin, like, how does this person walk? And I think when you live in a character for 4 or 5 years, to be able to have 14 days to create a totally different character in a completely different time period is, when you're shooting, you know, your 2020 version of your character is challenging. So it was really nice to just see everyone just step up to the plate and create this completely different 180 to their original character. As for me, I did walk around the house with a sock in my pants because I wanted to know what it would feel like to be a man.
I remember you saying that.
I dare not have literally walked around the house with a sock. And then I did learn how to cut cigars, and I did put cotton balls in my mouth because Marlon Brando was my inspiration, and I heard that's what he did. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do all my lines with cotton balls in my mouth, and that's what I did. So that was my prep. Walked around with a junk in my pants, and watched a lot of Godfather movies, and just wanted to, and like a mob boss doesn't say, I'm gonna kill you. They're like, I'm gonna kill you. You're like, shit, this motherfucker's gonna kill me. So you just, mob bosses don't have to prove their strength or their power. They just are. They're so charming. They're like, I like you. You know, come to I give you free spaghetti. I like your wife. You know, I don't want to kill you. I like you, you know? And so that's how mob bosses are, you know? So, so I wanted to bring a little bit of that charm, but also a little humor because it is Ella. And so, you know, the everyone was such a team player, the actors who played, you know, the goons. And I'm like, hey guys, if we laugh, if I just go like this, will you guys just, so it's just such a fun, collaborative effort where, like Kevin said, you know, you want other people to shine. It's like tennis. You can't hit the ball with yourself. And so it was just so fun to be part of this team where you're in a safe place. You know, some choices might not work, but it's okay. You know, sometimes I'm too big, sometimes I'm too, and it's okay. And I know I'm in a place where no one's going to judge me. Sometimes the jokes ain't funny. So it's nice to just be on a team where like, you're going to be safe. You're in a safe place. And I think that's when we all do our best work.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention about, with my process was, for the physical comedy of mine, I actually really studied a lot of Jerry Lewis. Got to give him a shout out because he was physical comedy.
Oh yeah.
So that's the way he like would spaz out and stuff like that. I stole from Jerry Lewis. Anyway.
Dude, the part where you were trying to sit on the chair, Chris and I were like, what is he doing?
Oh my God, that went on, like the way they cut it, it works pretty well. But I mean, there was like, that went on forever. Everyone was just like, what the fuck is he doing? I could totally slip off the thing and go down on the floor, but I hold my tea up above. So all you see is the tea shaking in the camera, like a whole bit. I'm sure Viet had a terrible time cutting that.
And Graham, like we're speaking of playing two different characters, like how do you, in one short amount of time, like 14 days, how do you play two different types of bad guys or bad
with different accents too?
Yeah. I guess, I mean, I have to say my approach is perhaps different. I mean, I've never really got away from essentially being a complete child. So my approach to anything is the approach that a child would take. And it is really the opportunity to, I mean, when you think about, well, certainly my memory of being a child is that children are able to change completely so fast from one thing to another. And I remember once when I was a kid, I went to, in those days, you used to go around to your friends' houses and knock on their door to see if they wanted to come out rather than text them or, Instagram them or whatever. You would actually physically walk and knock on people's doors and say, is Johnny coming out to play? And I remember on this one day going around and normally in my street, at least 5 or 6 people would come out to play. I was probably 11, something like that. And on this day, they were all busy. There was some reason that they couldn't come out. So I was on my own. And I was going to play War. That's what we did. We played War. And I decided that this wasn't going to stop me. So I played all the characters. So I was fighting myself. I remember, and I honestly, this sounds weird, but I honestly remember it as one of the most enjoyable play experiences I ever had. I completely lost myself in this multi-personality universe that I created for myself in my street. And I think all children are able to do that. And in terms of your question about those characters, I just love the opportunity to be able to do that. I just think it's so... I did a play once where I had to play 4 different... There was myself and an actress, and we had to play 4 different characters in the same play. And the trick was that the way the play was written, our quick changes were so fast that people couldn't believe that they were not actually different people coming on stage. That was the illusion that we were trying to create.
Was that Greater Tuna?
What's that?
Was it Greater Tuna? Is that the show?
No, I don't know that one, mate. No, this was a play by Alan Ayckbourn called Intimate Exchanges.
Okay.
It's an incredibly theatrical piece, but it's absolutely brilliant. And I loved it. I loved going off as this sort of idiot kind of country bumpkin type and coming on as this headmaster and then coming back on as somebody else. And I think as an actor, you just love doing that. It's such a gift. And as I said before, I've never had that opportunity on television or film to do that. And it was such fun. I mean, it was brilliant.
That's awesome. And before we wrap up, I think everyone, including myself, we had a question from Kim O'Connor, wanted to know what your upcoming projects are after you're done with Lucifer. And I know, Graham, you said you're already working on something right now.
Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm finishing. It's such a strange world we live in now. You're not allowed to talk about anything.
I know.
It's like they have the sort of red dot on your forehead. They'll just shoot you if you even hint at what you're doing. So all I can say is that the film I'm doing is for Netflix, and the TV show that I'm going to do is for Netflix. I can talk about. I've done this documentary series with Sam Heughan from Outlander about Scotland. So we've just finished filming that. So that's not a secret. So I can talk about that. But that's coming out next year. Other than that, it's all just super secret. All these NDAs.
I know, man. I know.
Ridiculous. Like video games. They're just what? It's just make believe.
Yeah, the same for me. I have a couple of super secret things that are supposed to launch sometime next year. But for the most part, I don't really know what those things are. Part of it's already done, and then we're continuing the other part. But I don't know what my next job is, honestly, as an actor yet. And it's hard for me to even want to jump into that idea of what my next job is until I've rested with the way Lucifer should end. Not to say that I won't do auditions and stuff like that, but I find it difficult to give all of me to those until that character is done. So I don't honestly know what my next job is.
Absolutely.
Or if I'll have one.
Yeah, I'm on I guess I can announce this. It's a new Hulu show, Marvel show called M.O.D.O.K, which is really exciting with an incredible cast, Patton Oswalt and Melissa Fumero and Ben Schwartz. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's one of the first biracial families in the Marvel universe. So proud to create an original character for Marvel. And then I wrote the Dungeons and Dragons comic books. So those will be coming out October 21st, which I'm really excited about. And then I just got hired to write a movie for, I can't say what, but it's.
And one of my close friends is directing it, which is dope.
Yeah, so it's a really cool thing. I'm, my writing partner and I pitched it to change what's traditionally male to female and diverse. So it's really exciting, and we're gonna pitch it and see what they think. But what's next for me? I started a production company, and we're at the 1 yard line to make a couple of deals for a script I wrote for TV. But I've just been really writing a lot and really wanting to be in a position where I can be inspired to write for people I've worked with and let them shine. Like nothing would make me happier than to, pay it forward and create, 13-year-old roles and 16-year-olds and 20-year-olds and 25 and 45 and just have, I would love to write for women the way that I wish roles were written for me 20 years ago. So I would love to write so well and write such compelling characters that great actors like actors, I've worked with say, I want to do this. I want to play this role. And I would love it. Like nothing would make me happier for them to win awards and be like, it's become so fun to kind of, I love acting. As Graham says, it's like being a big kid, but there's been something that's happening as I've been writing 8 hours a day during quarantine. It's really nice to, so I told everyone, I'm like, I'm going to hit you all up. Please be prepared, to just be able to create characters from scratch and write for people's cadences and be like, oh, they're really good at that. This is their humor. And that's become really fun, is to kind of segue into writing. So, and then I am doing a movie called Match Me If You Can that I'm producing and starring in spring, but which has been fun.
Oh, and that and this and that. Yeah, everything. I love it.
So just laying low, right, Aimee? It sounds like you're just taking it easy.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I have one of those red dot situations too, Graham, where I can't really say, but it's exciting. It's pretty exciting and kind of big, and which is great. I've been doing a lot more. My husband does a lot of voiceover work, and so I just got hired on my first kind of game thing situation that my husband is the voice of Alex Mason in the new Call of Duty that comes out in November. So he's been guiding me through. I know, Aimee, you've had some experience, and you, Kevin, with that. It's a very different thing to perform to a mic with just lines and no visual person opposite you. So that's been something that's been fun. And then I have a project that is moving forward based on South Africa. It's an idea that I've had for 6 or 7 years, and we actually have our showrunner meeting tomorrow, so it's pretty exciting that it's progressing, and that's kind of a love letter to my country and to my people. So it's very personal, but really really nice that that the story has resonated with people outside of South Africa. So that's been good, and learning how to figure out final draft has been fun. I'm just stroke what? Oh God, how do I? Yeah. So I've just been learning, writing, learning, putting things together, creative juices, learning a new voice craft. And my first love is acting, but I have enjoyed like figuring out an idea and like finding the pieces to bring, different people in, and being guided by my agency have been really great with all of this.
Awesome. It sounds like you guys have a lot going on, and we're really excited to see it, even if you can't talk about it. But that does it for us today, and I'm so excited to have you guys with us. It was really great to chat. And fans who are watching, hit those emojis and throw up some hearts in the chat, as our guests are going to leave our virtual stage for the day. So give it up one more time for Kevin, Lesley, Aimee, and Graham. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.